Thailand and Vietnam's tank showdown. Who can be better? These two Southeast Asian neighbors in the military equipment, on the fight for wealth, has long been no secret. Vietnam moved out of the Russian-made T-90's main battle tanks of steel torrent. Thailand is to light up China's VT-4 tanks of the sharp edge of the seemingly simple arms race behind. In fact, hidden technology games and geopolitics of the deep tug-of-war. When this pair of steel beasts in the tropical jungle narrowly met, the balance of victory or defeat will be tilted to which side. In the core competition of contemporary main battle tanks, the armor and firepower of T-90s and VT-4 are comparable. Russia for the export of tailor-made T-90s although inherited the Contact 5 explosive reactive armor pedigree, but compared to the Russian Army's own version of the obvious shrinkage, China's VT-4 is a combination of composite armor and FY-4 reactive armor, and its protective performance through the Middle East battlefield test. Both sides of the main gun are used 125mm smoothbore gun. Armor-piercing power can reach the level of 600mm homogeneous steel armor. This delicate balance makes the frontal duel, who first capture each other's traces and hit accurately, often can decide life and death. The powertrain battle presents a different picture. The Vietnam-introduced T-90s is equipped with a 1,200 horsepower diesel engine, which can still cope with the muddy terrain of the Mekong Delta, while the Thai VT-4's standard 1,300 horsepower engine is not only more powerful, but also has a modular design that allows for an optional top-of-the-line 1,500 horsepower configuration. This power gap will be especially obvious in the mountainous battlefield of northeastern Thailand. The VT-4's highway speed of up to 70 km/h combined with its hydropneumatic suspension system makes its maneuverability advantage in complex terrain more and more prominent. What's more interesting is that China's power packs for the foreign trade VT-4 have a maintenance cycle of up to 500 hours, which is almost twice as long as that of the Russian product, which is a fatal attraction for Southeast Asian countries that lack a sound logistical system. T-90s although equipped with curtain photoelectric interference system, but its information level is still in the era of mechanized warfare. On the contrary, VT-4 integrated third-generation hunting J-fire control system, not only to achieve the inter-vehicle data chain interaction, but also access to the battle area command network. In the confrontation exercises organized by the Thai military, VT-4 vehicle group through the vehicle-mounted Baidu navigation system, and unmanned aerial vehicles to share the battlefield situation in real time. Often in the T-90s has not yet noticed the completion of the multi-vehicle coordinated strike. This battlefield transparency capability gap to some extent more subversive than the thickness of the armor. Particularly noteworthy is that the VT-4 is equipped with an automatic loading system that reduces the crew to 3, while the T-90s still needs to be manually loaded, which will significantly affect the efficiency of the operation in sustained combat. The geopolitical codes of the game are hidden in the details of military trade. It is no coincidence that Vietnam chose the T-90s, a country that has a history of fighting with China and needs to maintain military deterrence, while avoiding overstimulating its northern neighbor. The Russian weapon was the perfect balance between acquiring advanced equipment and maintaining the strategic ambiguity of relations with China. Thailand, on the other hand, has shown more pragmatic wisdom, choosing its military purchases both in light of the strategic bundling of infrastructure cooperation, such as the China-Thailand Railroad, and benefiting from China's flexible payment methods. From using dried longan to offset the payment for 69 II tanks in 1987 to allowing tropical fruits to be used to discount part of the payment for VT-4s, this kind of bartering, which is unique in Eastern wisdom, has precisely hit the pain point of Southeast Asian countries that are short of foreign exchange. It is intriguing that these two steel behemoths tailored for the tropical battlefield, but both coincidentally pay attention to the crew's physical comfort. The Vietnamese military in the procurement of T-90s specifically requested to install air conditioning systems. Russian engineers had to graft in the rear of the turret external cooling device, and VT-4 factory that is equipped with dual temperature air conditioning. This seemingly insignificant configuration in Southeast Asia is high as 60 degrees Celsius within the confined combat compartment, but it is a matter of sustained combat capability. This difference in human-centered design concepts to some extent, reflecting the era of the two countries' military thinking. Russia is still continuing the steel first of the Cold War thinking. China has ergonomics into the core considerations of equipment design. From the point of view of battlefield adaptability, the modular design of the T-90s makes it more suitable for the terrain of Vietnam's rice paddies, and its compact body is easy to hide in the jungle. while the VT-4's wide body is more advantageous in the plains, but through the adjustable hydropneumatic suspension system, the chassis can be quickly adjusted to the height of the mountainous terrain in Thailand. This difference is similar to the epitome of the two countries' military strategies. Vietnam continues the traditional thinking of guerrilla warfare in the jungle, while Thailand pursues systematic regular combat capabilities. It is worth noting that the Thai Army will be VT-4, centralized into the 7th Armored Cavalry Regiment, the formation of the Iron Fist Assault Force. Vietnam will be T-90S dispersed deployed to the various military districts, reflecting the defense-oriented strategic posture. In the logistical support level, China for the VT-4 to build the whole life cycle service system shows strong competitiveness. Thailand can not only get spare parts supply guarantee, but also under the guidance of Chinese technicians to establish local maintenance centers. On the contrary, Russia's technology transfer to the T-90S has always been reserved, and Vietnam still needs to rely on Russian engineers for overhaul and maintenance. This gap in protection capability will gradually emerge in a long-term confrontation, when battle-damaged tanks need to be quickly repaired and returned to the battlefield. The modular design of the VT-4 can shorten the replacement time of major components by 40%. From the perspective of the regional balance of power, this tank race is far from a simple equipment confrontation. Vietnam has a standing army of 480,000 men, but the main force of its army is still 850 T-54 55s and other old tanks of World War II standard, and 64 T-90S are more like window dressing equipment to support the scene. Although Thailand's total military strength is less than 300,000, but by focusing on building elite armored units, the formation of quality to make up for quantity, differentiation advantage. This asymmetric development strategy, just with the economic strength of the two countries in contrast, Thailand's GDP volume of $548.8 billion to give it continued to change the bottom, while Vietnam's $476.3 billion of economic scale forced it to implement the old and new mix and match of the compromise program. When we look back to the shores of Cam Ranh Bay and the Korat Plateau, the confrontation between the T-90S and the VT-4 is essentially a tug of war between two military-industrial systems. Russia continues the steel torrent of the heirloom. China has created a information technology plus customization of the new track. For Thailand and Vietnam, the purchase of tanks is not only a military choice, but also a diplomatic declaration, the former with the VT-4 Compass terminal to dock the One Belt, One Road of the digital Silk Road. The latter borrowed the barrel of the T-90S to maintain the traditional geopolitical balance. In this tropical land that has witnessed countless empires fighting for supremacy, the roar of the steel beasts is still the unchanged variations of the great power game of the millennium, and the real decision to win, perhaps not the caliber of the barrel or the thickness of the armor, but who can integrate advanced equipment into a more perfect combat system. In the information age of the battlefield to write a new law of war.